When I was 27, my dog and I lived in my car for a month. It was one of the most impactful moments of my life. When you have very little at your disposal and you're vulnerable to ever-changing situations surrounding you, like knowing you don't know where you're going to sleep or what kind of things you're going to get into, where you'll wake up, that's when you truly get to know yourself. This episode, I'm really going to open up on what led me to van life and how it changed me. It's not really what you're used to hearing. I feel like people are used to seeing the glamour and the fun parts of van life, and I just want to be real with you guys why I wanted to do this in the first place. This episode goes deep into the emotional truths no van lifers tend to talk about, and I feel like that's kind of how you keep it real. Welcome back to the Rashelle Stetman podcast.
Down from the mountain, she found her true colors. Landed in Texas, but she's still drawing hollers. Rashelle's her name, and she's the real deal. But don't blink, 'cause the art's for real.
Normally, I don't read from anything, but to really cover the things that affected me the most, I wanted to write this episode and make sure that I hit every single point of what was so important to me that led me to want to build out a van and live in it and travel the country. So it's a little annoying that I'm reading it, but I promise you the content of this episode, it's deep, it's meaningful. If you're new to the podcast, I've been a professional artist for over a decade, working for private and commercial clients worldwide. I've been hired by celebrities, professional athletes, public figures, and many reputable companies. You might have seen my work on products in grocery stores, liquor bottles, or even different times in my career on billboards on major highways. I was published in a global art publication. I can't talk today, and I'm really sorry about it. As a leader in contemporary illustration, among other publications for my art. I was unhealthily obsessed with my career. It was the sole place I felt I gained confidence from, and I attached myself to that confidence with this routine that I had built that was proven to work. I was a full-blown workaholic with very little social life. I still kind of don't have much of a social life, but it's neither here nor there. None of my boyfriends lasted. Many of my friendships dwindled. I was criticized constantly for my drive, being told I needed to find some kind of balance. The more people told me this, the more I distanced myself from them, thinking it was them. They didn't have my best interest at heart. Looking back, I feel like such an asshole. I consciously kept myself away from social situations, looking at them as this distraction from my goals and telling myself that this was, what it took to stand out amongst the competition. My career was everything. As much as people admired my drive, and so did I, it was concerning in many ways as well. For roughly 8 years, I got up at 4 or 4:30 a.m., went to the gym for 1 to 2 hours, emails were done by 9 a.m., filmed progression on current art pieces, among other various business tasks during the day, and spent most nights working throughout the night on commission pieces or some type of admin work in my business. I was lucky if I even allowed myself to sleep 3 to 4 nights a week. This was very standard. Nothing really stood out to me that this was crazy other than other people hearing my routine or a man sitting across from me on a date going, "Do you need to leave to go work right now?" That's happened multiple times, kind of embarrassing. When people ask, "How did you become a professional artist?" This is the brutal truth of what it took for me. There was no off switch. I thought anything less was lazy, and I despise laziness, so I just kept pushing myself. When you're in your mid-20s, you don't realize how little you really know about life. So I didn't recognize yet that this was not sustainable forever. I developed pretty serious health issues from it, from the stress, from the lack of sleep. Looking back, these were definitely signs to slow down, and I just kept not listening. As a driven entrepreneur, focusing on growth in my career was the most important thing, but I just wasn't growing spiritually. I struggled deeply to be present, not realizing how vital this was, and trying to understand why that would play such a role for an artist. Like, if you're missing that, that's a huge piece to the creativity and the flow of things. I knew in my heart something major was missing from my life, and let's be honest, many things were. I'd spend so much time on my career, which in many ways was beautiful, but in all honesty, I didn't know who I was outside of being an artist and an entrepreneur, because this is what I limited to my self-discovery. It was a hamster wheel of a life. It went against every reason I wanted to be an artist and a business owner in the first place. I was further from my dreams, but meeting my goals constantly. Something I didn't know were two different things. Does that make sense to anybody? That you can hit all of the action items on a list, but you're still not living what feels like the dream. When you dream of something, there's this feeling you get. It's not looking at what writing these goals to lead to the dream would be. It would be the feeling that you get living in your life. And I didn't feel that at all. And I thought, I'm doing everything right. I'm dedicated. I'm proving myself. Why does this not feel right? When I graduated from art school, I wanted to design a life for myself that was the opposite of working in a cubicle. Living the same day over and over. And I was living the same day over and over. I was literally living the life that I was so afraid I would end up doing if I didn't pursue being a business owner and doing it my own way. I craved an inspiring life, minimizing the chance of burnouts that often artists feel. But the more I gained success and exposure, the more controlled I became in the structure of my life. It started to feel like it was becoming a prison that I had hand-built myself, weirdly enough, and my studio, the place that was supposed to feel like heaven to me, became my very own jail cell. I was really suffering deep down, but needed to appear confident. It was fucking exhausting, especially the part of being on social media and everybody wanting to see you do so well, and that will help sell the art. And it felt like I was suffocating in my own life, that I thought, well, you're the only person that can change this, right? So after years of this and not being able to look away, having mentee bees, like mental breakdowns, okay, I was like, something has to change. So I packed up my SUV with a sleeping bag, fishing pole, a bag of clothes, and my dog, and we left. I basically told myself, you have to be gone for a month, like 1 month. You have to leave what you are used to. Something is in this for you. I needed to gain perspective, ground myself, something I had never taken time to do before. I decided I would go all the way from where I was home, where I was home, which was San Diego, California at the time. And I was going to go all the way up the coast and go through Oregon and just see, like, do I want to go to Washington? Just figure it out later, right? I needed answers to questions that I didn't even know. I was seeking guidance about myself, what my purpose was. What's the bigger picture of all of this insane effort to be this successful artist if this is the feeling I'm getting? I needed to not have my everyday life at my disposal to figure this out, pulling myself physically away to face myself, separate from my career, separate from my art. I was honestly terrified. What the hell am I doing? I kept thinking. I wanted to turn around many times as I was driving, especially the further I got from places I had never seen before. Like when I started getting into like Central California, I was like, wow, this is now becoming unfamiliar. And it started to get very real to me that I was doing this, and the fear started to really sink in. But these are the things that kind of came to me and that I discovered in this trip, right? In this hiatus away from my life, from everything I had built, and just saying, fuck it, and getting in the car on the road, knowing that I was going to sleep in a car and I don't have like a shower at my disposal and I'm going to live like a cave woman. I'm like, I chose this. There's a reason why it got to this point. So here are my true discoveries on what I found in this chapter and what led me to getting the van. When you have less things, it minimizes the decision-making process. So I brought a fishing pole and my dog, so we just adventured together. I adopted Ziggy from a random shelter on a road trip in Arizona when I was 19 years old. I had always thought that it was destiny that we would adventure the country together. And it's so funny that we end up embarking on this journey that was absolutely insane, unplanned, and it was the best time of my life. Weirdly enough, it felt ironic too, getting him on a road trip, and then the path that we took ended up like mostly living on the road. I feel like you're meant to pay attention to these weird signs. Number 2, my dog was happier than I've ever seen him before in my life. Your dogs are a reflection of you. I don't care what anybody says. I've raised 3 dogs from puppies, and that is the absolute truth. And the dude was having the time of his fucking life, partly because I was too. And when the parent's happy, the dog's happy. I was playing with him every day. We were playing fetch several times a day, swimming together in lakes and rivers, running around on beaches like crazy asses, camping under the stars. I even got him to start wearing a headlamp for me when we would go out at night. And he was so cute. He would literally let me put the headlamp on him. He like got used to it. It was so fucking adorable. And then somebody told me that dogs can't see at night. And I was like, did I put this dude through this for no reason? Like, I feel horrible. The third thing I discovered is that there was no stress like what I was feeling in my everyday life back home. And I thought that was such a wake-up call. Like, it was such a simple, easy thing to discover that I hadn't felt stressed about like commitments and overcommitments and other people, the opinions of other people, like just the simple way we were living, it just cut the stress out. When I got out of this is number 4, when I got out of my comfort zone, I found clarity in what was actually important in life. I could feel myself coming into my own soul in a way that I have never felt before. It was like all of these things, all of these tasks, all the busyness, because it wasn't there, I was able to actually be with myself. It was so weirdly uncomfortable sometimes, but beautiful because you like need that to wake up to things, how you're living wrong for yourself. Number 5 is with no plans, you are easily able to be present. I wasn't planning where we would sleep ahead of time, like I said. We just go with it. I remember intentionally not looking at Google Maps, allowing my intuition to guide us. I know it sounds hippie as fuck, but that was kind of the point of this. It felt like places would just appear to us. I'd be like thinking about something like, it'd be really cool if I found a place like this, but we'd be by the beach. And then bam, there'd be a place like that. And things would just fall into place without forcing them or trying to plan things or like ensure that something will work out. If you just flow with it and I don't know, life doesn't fight you as much. And I realize if we over plan, that could work against us. That's something that I really never was familiar to that concept before this trip. Number 6 is being present feels better. This chapter got me truly to live, and doing it with Ziggy by my side was the most sacred experience I have ever felt. The memories from this time I'll remember forever. I have pictures all around my house of this trip that are framed like it's a shrine to Ziggy and I. It's like so funny because the best moments were this, and it changed the path of my life. And I think there's very few times in my life, at least, that I've had that where something impacted me so much that everything changed after that, I'm just so grateful for this trip because Ziggy passed away last year, and it was one of the most bonding experiences I've ever had with him, where I'm saying I got to know myself. I got to know him. I got to know what it's like for both of us to acclimate to, we have no idea what we're doing. And we were so trusting of each other. It was so beautiful. Like, I found that I never put him on a leash. I think he was on a leash one time, maybe twice, maybe once in San Francisco. And then like one other time when we were on like a walk somewhere where there was a bunch of dogs. And I think I was worried someone else would yell at me. I tend to get yelled at sometimes. And it was just so interesting to see, like, when your dog is off leash for the first times, like, nobody really knows how they're going to be. He never left my side. It was one of the coolest things I've ever felt. And so after that, the dude was never on a leash. Like, he would just stay with me. Even distractions would happen. He'd never leave me. He was so good. And it was cool to develop that trust with my dog. It was really amazing. The seventh point is simplicity is a key component to peace. When I'd get to a random town, I'd see a gym. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go get a workout in and shower. That wasn't an everyday thing at all, as we stayed kind of further out from cities. I'd go 2 to 4 days at a time without a shower. That was very standard. And it really just became no big deal. Sometimes we would bathe in a lake or a river, like I was fully homeless. I realized how little I actually needed to feel more joy than I ever had before. Like, there's something about the simple things in life, the simple experiences, just like walking outside and hearing birds. It's so simple, and yet it lifts your spirit immediately. And I think that I never really slowed down enough to realize that, because I think we're always like complicating things, and we're always trying to make our life something that it's not yet. Like, oh, when we get here, we'll be happy. But it's like, what about where we're at right now? What makes you happy right now? And if you're in a bad mood or it's a shitty day, I feel like you got to find a way in that moment to get present and breathe in the day, like go outside, ground yourself, get a book, read, do anything that like pulls you out of that feeling, or lean into that feeling and take some deep breaths in the sunshine. Like, I just feel that I never slowed down enough to realize how simplicity is just, it's such a key component to happiness. Number 8 is home is not a physical place. It is where you feel the safest and the most at peace. Some nights we slept on a beach, some nights in a random parking lot, but I noticed I slept deeper than I ever did back at home. And with the vulnerability of what it's like to sleep in a car, and remember, this isn't a van, so you're very exposed. I remember covering every window and being like, can people see in here? And it was just so different than van life, right? So you're like, if one of the things falls off the window and someone like goes to their car in the morning or whatever, if I was in a random neighborhood, they'd see me sleeping in my car, and I never wanted that feeling, so it was very vulnerable, but yet I was sleeping so well. So that was interesting. Like, okay, I obviously feel more at peace, yet I'm more vulnerable, and this is kind of sketchy. So that was pretty telling for me. That home is in your heart. It is like, it's everywhere you go. It's where you feel at peace and good and whole. It's not a physical place. Number 9 is embarrassment keeps you humble. I remember getting kicked out of Walmart parking lots on this trip for the first time, and it was horrifying. I was so embarrassed. I remember this guy coming up to my car with his flashlight, shining his flashlight in my car right after I got in my sleeping bag, and I'm putting up the window coverings. And he's like, ma'am, you can't sleep here. And I was mortified. And there were people that were walking by, customers of Walmart. It was a 24-hour Walmart. That's why I thought you could stay there. But they were like, is she seriously sleeping in her car? And I'll never forget, they were like laughing at me. I was so embarrassed, but I thought about it. I'm like, this is all part of it. You're supposed to have these things happen to you. You're supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to have all different types of experiences. It's not meant to be stress-free. It's just supposed to be different, because different is what grows us. So embarrassing moments, I mean, that wasn't the only one. I'm sure there's other ones I could think of, but I just remember the multiple times I had been kicked out of places. I was like, by the third time, I was like, I'm fucking used to it. Like, it's okay. I was like almost stoked for it. It was weird. Like, cause you're like, I'll find another place. You start to become like stronger from it. It's less embarrassing. And then you think over time, what really could embarrass me now? I'm so like forward with what I'm doing that you're kind of expecting it, you know? And you don't respond like the way that you would the first time. Number 10 is new experiences teach you more about yourself. Allow time for those in life. Make time for those in life. Who knows? They may change everything for you, like living in my car did for me. As I decided I should head back to San Diego, I was daydreaming about van life. I thought, wow, those people are onto something. Like, I kind of get from just this experience what just the simple operations of van life would be. Not even like the flashy fucking photos of like what you see on all these fucking accounts, but just the simple day-to-day. These people live with less things. They live with less decision making. They live simply. So they probably experience like, it's just a lot of experience that you take in. You're taking in the sunsets easily. You want to be outside more. You want to experience people and laughter and emotion more. You want to make time to be present. There's something in this. And I was just so daydreaming on van life and just how much I thought, I think that's for me. I knew that I couldn't go back to my old ways, but I didn't know how exactly going back was going to change yet. I wanted to break my lease. I was already going there in my head, like maybe it's just this place or whatever. And about 5 minutes into my drive, my car broke down and I was stranded on the side of the road and faced with the news of needing to buy a new car. I mean, come on, how fucking wild is that? Like, even the thoughts going through my head at the same time, it was crazy. You can't help but laugh at certain moments of your life like this when you just know, you know wholeheartedly that this chapter that you're living through happened for you. It's these moments of stress and clarity that lead you to taking the leap into something new. And what led me to taking this trip also led me into wanting to buy my first van. When I got home, I went to several dealers. I went through hell trying to find the right one, because buying a van is, it's buying a empty vessel of a van and making sure it's something that you want to pour a lot of money into to build your home is a lot of pressure. It's a whole nother stress. So I went from like art stress, business stress to like, holy shit, there's a lot of responsibility in this too. But it was fun. It was like really awesome. And it felt like it was going very similarly to the theme of wanting to design your own life. This felt like it was taking my power back. So I ended up getting a Ram ProMaster, and that's where the story of my very first van and my very first build and the whole chapter of van life begins for me. So that, I know that was like kind of a quick like synopsis on what led me there, but I feel like if I don't disclose this, it's like, I don't know, it just kind of seems like people hopped on this bandwagon of like, oh, it looks so beautiful and I want to go to these places. You can go to those places if you have a car. But what it was for me was different. It was something that I never wanted to become like a fancy, flashy, fucking influencer van lifer that's just like, look at how cool my fucking life is and make other people feel Like, don't you want to be like me? Which is kind of how van life community can feel, especially like the more flashier ones to me. Like where a girl's like in a thong, laying on the bed, and like her boyfriends of Instagram are like, you know, taking the photo, and it's like, oh, such a beautiful view. And in the background, it's like it's a mountain or something in the background. It's a beautiful view, but everyone's looking at your ass cheeks. Like, it's not come on, you know? And to me, it's about something very different. You'll never catch my ass cheeks on Instagram, okay? Like, that's just not what it's about for me. And, you know, there's a lot of nice ass cheeks out there, but mine is going to be my whole story. My whole reason for wanting to do this was a lot deeper, and it was a lot more real and humble, and it felt like it was leading me to living more correctly for what felt right for me. So if you liked this episode, like, subscribe, share. Anything helps right now. You guys, this is a new channel. I guess this isn't really a channel, is it? Would we call it a channel? I don't know. This is a new podcast. This really, really helps me out because we're trying to grow. We're trying to get the right sponsors. So if you guys can like and share it with somebody who you think this might, you know, inspire or help, that would be great. And thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much.
Rashelle's her name, and she's the